In this episode, we will understand the economic impact of the budget. As I was saying earlier, the goal in the budget is to create an environment where we can drive economic growth, where people can create jobs and spread prosperity throughout our country. To do that, we have to first understand that there are 4 different growth drivers that are taking our economy from $3 trillion, which is roughly what it is right now, the 220 lakh crores that I was mentioning earlier. That's about $3 trillion in US dollar terms. And we have to continue to try and grow it and get to $5 trillion. The Honorable Prime Minister has set a target for us of $5 trillion. How are we going to get to this $5 trillion? Well, there are 4 very important growth drivers that are required to be able to lift up our GDP from $3 trillion to $5 trillion. The 4 are, number 1, the National Investment Pipeline. This national investment pipeline is about 110 lakh crores, and through that we are building roads and bridges and highways and airports and all kinds of very valuable infrastructure that will act as a huge multiplier force in our economy and drive it forward. Second, our exports are booming. Our IT services, our pharmaceuticals, our textiles, all of them are doing extremely well. That's a very important second growth driver for our economy. The third growth driver for our economy is the wonderful work that is being done through our startup ecosystem. We are generating unicorn after unicorn, and these unicorns, as they grow, are creating lots and lots of jobs. They're exporting lots of products and services, and that's become a very big driver for our economy as well. And as these jobs get created, these export jobs get created, these startup jobs get created, the National Investment and Infrastructure Pipeline creates jobs. As all these jobs get created, we will also drive consumption growth, and that will become then a 4th growth driver that will propel the economy from $3 trillion to $5 trillion. That is the plan, that's the effort that we are undertaking. And this is the virtual growth cycle that we want to undertake. The virtuous growth cycle that we want is a growth cycle in which growth happens that leads to an increase in our share markets, people make investments, that money comes to companies, and then the company makes investments, these investments generate returns, the returns then create further growth. This is the virtuous growth cycle that we have to drive. Growth leading to more participation in the share bazaar leads to investments through companies, higher returns, more growth, and that's the virtuous growth cycle that investment drives. So it's all about the investment cycle, the virtuous growth cycle, if we want to be able to drive growth. And here, one of the very positive things that has happened is that there has been a tremendous growth in demat accounts. Crores and crores of people have flocked to the capital markets, to the share bazaar, and as they have come in, they've brought capital into the share bazaar, and by bringing capital into the share markets, that capital has gone to companies, new age companies, old companies, all of them have been able to raise capital, and that capital has driven investment and created jobs. It's absolutely the case that in the last few years, the Indian capital markets have offered tremendous growth opportunities. There has been year-to-year growth of 12 to 15% in the last few years. And that has, as I said, created lots and lots of capital that is now available for our companies to be able to undertake this virtuous growth cycle. And so it is this investment that drives growth that gets us to $5 trillion. If our GDP grows at 9%, we will get to the $5 trillion target very quickly. Here is a graph that shows you how quickly we get to $5 trillion if we are growing at 9%. If we grow at 7% or 8%, we'll still get to $5 or $6 trillion. It may take a little bit longer, but it's absolutely crystal clear that we are going to get to $5 trillion. And this $5 trillion is going to spread prosperity, and it's going to create a tremendous amount of jobs. That's the target the Honorable Prime Minister has set for us, and our economy is moving along very well in that regard. In fact, many experts believe, and this is a World Bank projection, that in the next 25 years, not only are we going to achieve the $5 trillion, but in fact we are going to grow till $10 trillion, $10 trillion, and at that point we will have the 3rd largest economy in the world. Today we are the 5th largest economy, but when we get to $10 trillion, Only the US and China will be ahead of us. India will be the third largest economy in the world. That's what we're hoping to achieve in the next few years. 5 trillion is in sight, 10 trillion comes next. And let's also recognize that there has been a very strong relationship between market capitalization and GDP, and that typically has been 1:1. You can see here in this chart how strong Nifty returns have been because GDP growth rate has been strong. What happens is that because we have a 1:1 ratio roughly between market capitalization and GDP, if market capitalization continues to increase at the rate at which GDP is increasing and GDP gets to $5 trillion, then market capitalization will also get to $5 trillion. Now let's understand this. Today market capitalization is about $3 trillion. If we add $2 trillion now to market capitalization over the next few years as GDP heads to $5 trillion, there will be $2 trillion worth of wealth created in our capital markets, in our share bazaar. $2 trillion. And that's an enormous amount of wealth that will be created, and it will be spread out widely through dividends, through appreciation in the share market. And here, because the Provident Fund and many other all pension vehicles are investing in our capital markets, in our share markets now, this wealth creation that's going to happen is going to be spread very broadly, and it's going to bring prosperity to all of us. So GDP growth rate is the elixir, it is the Sanjeevani. The faster we can grow GDP, the faster we can grow jobs, the faster we can grow wealth.